Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner coming to you for the DeKalb County Library. And I wanted to show you how to make some chains. I love making some little decorative chains that you can wear alone or with something dangling from them. So I wanted to do that. I haven't done it in a while. So I'm going to show you how to make some just different links. You don't have to put them all together. I'm showing you several different ones. You can use them one at a time to make a full chain, or you can use them as a extension of a pendant. But I wanted to show you several of them and put them together just to make a nice decorative chain that you can wear with anything. So what I'm going to need is three things: wire, 20 gauge in this case, beads, and I'm using seed beads in uh, uh, as a spotlight to Native American Heritage Month. They do beautifully for this particular project. So seed beads, 20 gauge wire, and jump rings. That's all we need for this project. And if you want to, you can use any beads. You don't have to use seed beads. That's just what I'm using this time. You'll need a ruler and you'll need your usual tools, which are round nose pliers. The barrels are round all the way around. They start larger at the bottom where the hilt is, and they taper up to almost a point at the tip. Then you have your square nose pliers. They're slightly rounded on the outside, but flat on the inside. And I wanted to hold those up together because I've had people say, how do you know the difference? These are slightly rounded, but these are completely round all the way around, whereas these are slightly rounded on the outside and flat on the inside. When you buy these from the store or if you order them, make sure that the inside is smooth and not, some of them have those little grips that help you grip whatever you're working with, but when you're using soft wire or even half hard wire, that will mar your wire. So you want to use some that are flat on the inside. The third thing that you're going to need is a pair of wire cutters, like I have here. And then I also told you need a ruler. That's it. So let's go ahead and do some little artistic, I'm calling them artisan links. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so each of my links is going to take about 4 inches of wire. That's where your ruler comes in. So just cut some 4-inch pieces of wire. And this is what I'm looking at. I'm going to just make, let's get to the camera. Let's just make some, just swirl some of the ends. We'll scroll them. We'll use our square pliers to make square loops or triangular loops. We're going to make some, there's a little diamond shaped one. We're going to make some open spirals, some square spirals. We're just going to have some fun. Let's start with, which one do I want to start with? Ooh, this is a pretty one. One of my favorite designers is Samantha Latimer. She plays around with wire and has so much fun with it. And I love some of the things that she's done. And she did what is the equivalent of an ampersand, a spiraled ampersand, which I absolutely love. So I'm going to start with that one. So let's go ahead and grab one of my pieces of wire here and my round nose pliers, and we're going to make a spiral. So I'm going to start in with the tip of my round nose pliers and grab onto the tip of my wire, and I'm going to start a loop. So I'm turning, and notice, I want to demonstrate something. Notice how I don't go trying to get my loop. You want to do small turns. That's how you maintain control. Just do small turns. So now I've got a little loop there. Well, it's not quite closed. Let's close that. So now I have a little loop, and I'm going to continue to wrap the wire around itself. And I want to make sure that the wires are beside each other, not on top of each other. We're not stacking the wires. We're wrapping them around each other. Okay, so that's as far as I can go with my round pliers, because if I try to continue to go with my round pliers, I'll be squeezing these two wires together. So I'm going to switch over to my square pliers and continue my spiral. Make sure that these wires are nice and close against each other. And just go until I have about 1, 2, 2.5 times around. So 1, 2, and then there's a half circle. I think that's enough for that. Yeah, well, let's go right across from the tip. So there's my wire stopping right across from the tip. There, yeah. So then I'm going to go in with my round nose pliers again. And I'm going to rest the pliers right against my loop, like so. And I'm going to bring this tail over the top of my pliers and around until that wire collides with the squirrel wire. I'm going to bring that over and around. Until I have a little loop. Now, it depends on how big a loop you want. It needs to be big enough for you to link to something. So I went about 1/3 of the way down my pliers. And there's my little loop. So there's my little ampersand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I'm going to switch back to my square pliers again. And I'm going to wrap this tail around my spiral. Just right beside. Or you don't even have to use that. You can use your fingers. I try to use my pliers because if I use my fingers, you can't see the rest of the wire. People say, I can't see what you're doing. So make your choice. You can choose your pliers or your fingers. Just wrap that around until it's right under, the end of it is right under the crossed over part up here. So let's bring that around until it's right in the middle, right there. Here we go. There's my little ampersand. Isn't that cute? Then I'm going to go in with my round nose pliers again. Right here in the, and I'm going to make another loop right there in the center. Wrap that around. And again, I just need it to be big enough to link to whatever I'm linking it to. Oh, you know what? That's not correct. That's cute and all, but I don't need to do that. I don't need another loop on this side. Oh, don't you just love that? So I'm gonna take that back out. That's easy enough to do. Just take it back out and straighten that wire. I'm gonna do that again so I can show you the proper way. So this is what I had, okay, before I made a loop like an idiot. So this is what I had. Let's straighten that out a little bit more so it's not so mangled looking. So now all I need to do is straighten this wire out. So I want it to be going straight out this way, opposite my loop. So I'm going to grab my square pliers and right there in the middle of my spiral, I'm going to turn that wire until it's straight out, just like that. So that's what I have. And my little wire's a little mangled, but I'm about to put some beads on it, so it's not going to matter one way or the other. Let's grab some beads. So I have a little pattern going here. I have red bordering black and black bordering red, and I'm going to continue that. So let's just grab, what do I want here? Let's grab this and put on a black one and red one and a black one. There we go. And now I'm going to make another shape on the other side. What do I want? What do I do over here? I might do something different. I know, since this one's all round, I think I'm going to do a round one on the other end. Is that what I did before? Yeah, let's just go ahead and make your standard round loop. We'll make some other interesting shapes later. But let's bend this off to the side at about a 45-degree angle. Grab my round nose pliers, slide my wire down about a third of the way down my pliers. And I always say all pliers are not created equal. So you may get a smaller loop or a larger loop with your pliers than I do with mine, because just as an example, look at the difference. They're slight, one is slightly bigger than the other. So you need to use trial and error to decide how big your loops need to be. As long as it's big enough to link with your next link, you're fine. So I'm going down about a third of the way down my pliers, just because I want to kind of match up with what I've already done here. And I'm going to grasp my wire and bring this tail over the top and down the side of my beads, just like so. So now I have about a 3/4 loop. So now I'm going to open my pliers and reposition them out of the way so that I can bring this tail the rest of the way between my pliers and my beads, just like that. So now I have a loop. Very nice. I'm going to close that loop up. So I'm going to grab my square pliers and wrap right here between the loop and the beads. I don't need too many wraps. And because this is a very short tail, and I don't know what your grip case capabilities are. If you can't really grip it that well with your fingers, then just switch to a pair of pliers and guide it around with those. Nice. There. And clip off the excess. Notice how I held on to that little tip, because it will fly across the rim, and I really, really don't like chasing it. Then I'm going to use my square pliers to push down that little tip. Let's get it nice and snug in there with the other wires so that it won't stick out and scratch you when you're trying to wear your piece. And there we have it. Nice, isn't that cute? That's a nice little link. You can make a whole chain out of that and it would be gorgeous. All right, let's do another one. Let's put that one to the side. Let's grab our square pliers and make one. So what I'm going to do is take my square pliers, grab a piece of my wire, 4 inches still, and I'm going to measure about 1 inch from the tip here. 1 inch. Yeah, about an inch from the tip. And I'm going to make a big paddle. So I'm going to go back here near the back. Need an inch. Let me measure again, make sure I got my inch. Less. I want it to be an inch from my pliers. There we go. That's good. So now what I'm going to do is bend one of my wires, one side of my wires, down over the pliers. So one side of my wire, I'm just going to bend flat down on one side of my pliers, just like that. And if you really, really want a sharp bend and you have a second set of pliers that you can use that to really push it down until it's flat. Right? Then on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. Push it down close as I can get to my pliers until it's nice and flat. Then you can take another pair of pliers, if you have a second set, and squeeze that so that you get a nice sharp bend. There. And then I'm going to bring one of my ends under my pliers. See, this is where the slightly round shape comes in handy. And I'm going to bring the other one under as well. Doesn't have to go all the way across, just enough to cross over the other wire, like so. You can see the shape there. See if I can get this a little clearer. There we go. So now you can see the shape that I have. And then we're going to, right there where it's crossed, I'm going to bend the long wire straight like so. And that's what I have. Might need to make a little bit of an adjustment just to make sure it's nice and straight. There we go. Turn this down a little more. Nice. Okay. So now I need to wrap this short tail around the long stem. Now, the biggest thing that you need to be aware of is that you don't want to straighten it out. There we go. You don't want to pull this. Oops. This is attached to this side, and you don't want to pull it because then you will close up your you'll close up the little opening. You don't want that. So what I do is get a good grasp on it and then fold this around. Don't pull it, just fold it. Just fold it up till you've got it started. Bring it around. Just be patient. Then I flip it over and then make a full circle around. So now I've got my full circle and I can go down and make another wrap around. As long as you have at least one full wrap around, you're good. Turn it over and see what it looks like. That's looking good. And that should do it. Just want to go rings together. Let's cut off the excess here that I don't need. That little tip's gonna fly if I don't do something to control it. So I'm gonna bring in my little spool, turn it down into the spool, and cut it down in there. Boom, controlled cut, yay. Okay, now let's take that little sharp edge and push it down alongside the other wraps. a little bit more. Get it as close as you can to, if you get it as close as you can to the stem, that little tip won't be as evident. There we go. Nice and smooth. Let's grab some more beads. Slide them on in whatever way you want them. Now I'm using 3 size 6 beads. So that's going to be the equivalent of about a 6 millimeter bead. If you want to just use a single larger bead, that would be excellent. You can do that. So now that I've got that shape, now what do I want to do on the other side? I think I'm going to go ahead and do the triangle because I have plenty of wire here left. I've got a good 2 inches or so, and that's about an inch and a half or 2 inches is about what it takes. I've got a little over 2 inches here. I'm going to go ahead and make a triangle. So I'm going to bend my wire off to the side again at my little 45-degree angle. And when I say to the side, these are my sides. This is the top. So when I say side to side, that's what I want. So I bent that over. I'm going to grab my square pliers again, not these. I don't like these. They're short, very short. Grab the ones I like. There we go. Like I said, all pliers are not created equal. Okay, so I've got my little bend. I'm going to go, how far down do I want to go? I think I'm going to go halfway down my pliers. Yeah. I'm going to go halfway down my pliers. And by halfway, I mean halfway between the tip and this little opening down here for me. Okay. And then I'm going to, I've got one bend in it that I bent from the top of the bead. Make sure that your pliers are resting against the beads. Then I'm going to fold up my wire across the flat part of my pliers. That's as far as I want to go. Then I'm going to very carefully hold on to my beads, open my pliers up, and turn my pliers so that they're resting in the same place I was before. Now, if you're saying, oh no, how am I going to know? What if it moves? It does move sometimes. You can use a piece of painter's tape to mark your spot so that you don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to be the same length as the other one. You can use a marker and put a little mark in it if you want to do that. Or you can do this, just be very careful about watching where it is. Mine don't ever come out perfect. This is a very organic piece, so I don't worry too much about that. Okay, I don't want it to look like it's coming off an assembly line. I want it to look like I handmade it. Okay, all too much chatter. Okay, so now I'm going to fold this down straight across my pliers again. There we go. You can see 2/3 of my little diamond shape taking effect. Then I'm going to do the same thing. Hold on to my beads, open my pliers, turn it around to the other side. Make sure that the bent part is resting against your pliers. You don't want a big space in there, otherwise it's not going to turn out right. And I'm going to push down until I'm resting against my pliers again. Now you have all these beads that are going, oh, I want up there. No. Push it down against my pliers again. Get my beads out of the way. Get back down there. Yeah, let's just take it out. There's my little triangle. Let's move my beads that are determined to find their way up there. And there I have my little triangle. Isn't it awesome? Let me turn this down straight. So there I have my little triangle. nice. Okay, so now I need to wrap it. And it's going to be the same thing. I don't want to pull this, otherwise I'll close up my opening. So I want to be very careful about holding this around to the back, like so. And I'll turn it around and wrap it again. Very nice. I'll give it one more wrap around. And there we have it. Clip off that excess. Fortunately, there's enough for me to hold on to. Get rid of that. Push down my little tip. Now, those of you who get kitsch, you'll be getting these glass seed beads. So be careful when you're pushing this down. You don't want to squeeze too tightly and possibly break a bead. That's heartbreaking. Done it. I have done it. But you can just do it again, which is what you'll have to do. That's the heartbreaking. You'll just have to do your wrap again, but just think of it as good practice. And there is, let's get that straight. There is my little link. Oh, and if these are somehow twisted so that they're not together, see how it's all out of balance? This is soft wire. Just go in with both fingers, thumb and forefinger, and turn it until they are both facing the same direction. And I like to lay it down too and push so I can get it nice and flat. So there it is. Yay. Nice. Let's do another one. What do I want to do now? Ooh, I know. All right, so I'm going to do a little double loop. This is another Samantha Latimer that I've seen. Actually, I've seen several people do it, but I like her. I'm giving her credit. Okay, so now what I want to do, I want to give myself a good inch again from the end. I'm just going to eyeball it. And I'm going to make a tiny little loop, just a very small loop. So I'm just turning with my pliers hand until I have crossed over wire. Then I'm going to bring the short one around until I have a little loop there. Then I'm going to go in where it's crossed and hold on to it with my pliers. And I'm going to bring the long one around. Until I have a little teardrop. Oh, I was off camera, wasn't I? Let's do it again. All right. All right. 1 inch from the end. Again, I'm eyeballing. I'm going to make a small loop. So I'm going to give myself a little turn. And then I'm going to bring the short one around until I have a little loop. There we go. Then I'm going to continue to wrap the larger one around until I can't go any further because it's bumping into the pliers. Then I'm going to take my pliers out, go up here where my wires are crossing, and I'm going to bring my wires around until they cross over into a little teardrop. There. And now I'm going to wrap it. So I'm going to straighten this wire out. so that I can now wrap this around the long stem. So I'm going to grab my pliers again, or you can hold it with your fingers. It's up to you. But if I hold it with my fingers, you can't see. So I'm going to hold it with my pliers and wrap this short tail around the long one. There we go. And again, it's a short wire. If you want to use your pliers to wrap, you can. I want to make sure that I don't have a big opening in there. Let's wrap that around one more time. Since I have the wire to do it, I may as well use it. And I squeeze that down so that I don't have a big opening there. If I need to, I'll squeeze my little rings together so they're nice and neat. And let's cut off the excess wire. Just cut off that little tail. And push down the tip. As close as I can get to my stem. Nice. Isn't that cute? I love it. Let's add some beads. Let's do some red bordering blacks. Just for a little sketch. And now what do I want to do on the other side? That is the question. I don't know. What did I do over here? What did I do in this one? I gave it, this is all squirrely, so. I think I'll just do another rounded one, maybe. Sometimes it's fun to change the shapes on each side, one round and one not round. Yeah, what did I do? Oh, I know, I did a small diamond. I think I will do that. So I've got a nice round one side, and I just showed you the diamond shape, but I'll do it again. No, you know what I'll do? I'll do a spiral. Yeah. I want to do an open spiral. Yeah, let's do an open spiral. Okay, just for fun. Okay, so I've got about an inch and a quarter here, I think. No, more like an inch and a half. Yeah, nice size spiral. I want it to be that big. I'm going to take it down to about an inch and a quarter. Take that off. And let's just make a little open spiral, a small one. So for that, I need to grab the tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers, start a loop. Notice how I choke up on it. I'm not down here trying to turn. I'm up here where I can control it more. So I'm going to put a little turn in and then another little turn until I have it almost closed. Okay, so I have about 7/8 of a loop. So then I'm going to continue to wrap, but I'm keeping the wires from touching. I'm just guiding that around. Nice open spiral. And then I'm going to switch because I can't go any further. My pliers were bumping up against my wire. So I'm going to switch to my square pliers and continue to wrap it with the wires not touching. Then when I get close to the bead, I'm going to put a bend in my wire, a nice sharp bend like so that these beads don't slide up into my spiral. Keep going. And then another way to keep them from sliding up is right here at the bottom where I finished my spiral. I'm going to push those wires together. Just let them touch so that these beads won't go any further. And there we have another one. Neat. I like it. All right. Let's go back to the squares pliers. Somebody asked me one time, well, what do I do if I accidentally if I accidentally start making a spiral with the wrong pliers? No such thing to make a spiral with our square pliers. So we're going to make a nice square spiral. So I'm going to grab my pliers. I'm going to do the same thing that I did with my round pliers, but I'm just going to substitute the squares. So I'm going to grab the tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers. I'm going to make sure that this little tip is not sticking out the other side of my pliers. It should be firmly ensconced in there. Let's go a little further back. There we go. And then I'm going to put a little bend, which is basically me pushing this wire up against my pliers like that. So then I'm going to take it out. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to put another bend, pushing that wire up against my pliers again. So there I have another bend. And I'm going to do it again until I have a square. There. Nice. Looks more like a diamond shape. It's fine. But in order to get rid of that angle, I'm just going to push. It's telling me to hurry up. I'm just going to push my little tail down. Now you can keep it a diamond shape. It just depends on whether or not you would like a square or a diamond shape spiral. There we go. It's going to lean a little bit. That's okay. So now I'm going to make another square. So I'm going to go right outside, pull it out a little bit. I'm going to go right outside of my first wrap. And put another bend in. Just like that. Then I'm going to go down here and just outside of this wrap, I'm going to put another bend in. See where I'm going here? Yes. I'm going to do the same thing down here. Looks a little like the Twilight Zone. Another bend. And there we go. I have a nice square spiral. Now, do I want to go and let me do one more little bit in there. Yes, that's a big one. And then I'm going to go right here in the middle of my spiral. Start over just a smidge. Push this over a smidge. So I'm going to go right here in the middle of my spiral, right there where this little point is. And I'm going to bend this wire straight up. So I'm right there in the center. And I'm going to bend straight up. So there I have my square spiral. Neat, huh? Nice. Let's go ahead and put some beads on there. And again, you can take these and make, you can, oh, get back. Gonna have to do the same thing I did with the round one. Push that together so that these beads don't go crawling up into my spiral. There we go. Ah, neat. So now what do I do on the other end? That's a good question. You know what? I think I'll make a little teardrop, just a plain teardrop, just to balance it out a little bit. So I'm going to bend my wire over to the side again, a little 45-degree angle, grab my pliers. I'm going to go a little bit away from my beads, maybe 1/8 of an inch. Going to go all the way to the back of my pliers. I'm going to bring the wire over my pliers, down the side, and just let it cross over. Just have a nice little teardrop, completely unembellished. There we go. And then we're just going to wrap that. Just wrap that around right there between the bead and my pliers. And I have a nice, simple little wrap. And if for some reason there's a space in between your wraps, that's not a big deal. Take your pliers, just squeeze it until the wires are bordering each other. There we go. Nice. I'm going to go ahead and cut off that excess. It's long enough for me to hold on to. Great. Push down that tip. There we go. Now see how this one's flat, this one's going up and down. Easy fix, just hold on to it with your finger and thumb on both sides and twist until they are both going the same way. There's another one. So look at what we've done. Isn't that neat? 4 completely distinct links that we can use to make any kind of a chain that we want. I think I went through all of our little options that I have for the time being. I'm sure I will come up with others. But now, what do you do with this? You can use this to make a chain. You can use it to make a necklace. You can use it to make a bracelet. Let's go ahead and put it together. Now, how, you ask, do we put it together? It's all wrapped up. Well, we use jump rings. Jump rings, jump rings. My buddy Pat's favorite thing to link. Yes, let's do that. So let's link them together. Let's go ahead and just link these. So what's the proper way to open a jump ring? Well, there are a couple ways. You can find the opening of your jump ring. Let's move these out of the way. Find the opening, which is right here. And in this case, These little ends, this is one tip and this is the other tip. I don't know if you can see that. They are overlapping. You don't want that. So how do you remedy that? Well, there's a couple of ways. You can put a pair of pliers on each side and then kind of pull the little tips apart until you can get them lined up together like that. That's one possibility. Just trying to focus on everything down there. So you can get that lined up until they are flush. There we go. Or you can come in with your cutters. There's the opening here. Yes, that is also overlapped. You can come in with your cutters and cut one end down right against the other. See, I've got that little bit over here, and I want them, that my little tips to meet. So I've got to cover this up because this tip will go flying off to parts unknown, and I really, really don't want to chase it. Cut that off. There's that little tip. That out of the way. And now, there. Now I have an even jump ring. It's a little bit apart, but I can fix that by taking my two pairs of pliers and rotating it until my little ends are meeting. Just give it a little jiggle. There. So now you ask, how do I open it? One pair of pliers on one side of the opening, another on the other side. Give it a twist. Now I have a perfectly open jump ring. Perfectly open. Another way is to grab one pair. This is the one I fixed. Yes. Grab one pair of pliers on one side and your thumb and forefinger on the other side and just twist it open, just like I did with the pliers. Same thing. Another way is just twist it with your fingers. These are 6 millimeters, so they're a little small. You might not be able to hold onto it with both sides of your fingers, but that is how you open your jump rings. Now, what do we do now? You put them together. So let's grab one of our links. Let's grab a jump ring. Put the pliers on one side of the opening. Hook it onto one of my links. Grab another link. Hook it onto the jump ring as well. Just attach it to the jump ring and close. Make sure that those little tips are meeting and that there's no space in between the tips. I like to use my fingernail. Just if I can't get my fingernail in it, I'm good. So let's grab another one. Do the same thing. Grab my jump ring. Slide on one of my links. Slide on a second link. And close it. And if you twist it open, you just twist it closed. Here we go. Be very diligent about how you close your jump rings. I can't tell you how many times somebody has said, I lost my bracelet in the supermarket or in the drugstore or in the hardware store. I just lost it because jump rings aren't being closed properly. And I know that it's kind of a pain to, get down there and really be diligent about closing those jump rings properly. But you don't want to lose your piece. You don't want to lose your necklace or your bracelet because um, you weren't diligent about that. You really weren't on top of it. That's heartbreaking. And you definitely don't want that to happen if what happens this time of year, you're starting to give things as gifts and you want to make it for somebody as a gift. You really want to make sure that all your components are put together properly. Let's do this one more. Let's turn it this way. Let me put it on this side because this one is red and black, and this one is black and red. Yeah. One more. Slide that on. Slide that on. And twist it closed. Make sure everything is flush and nice and together. There we go. Very nice. You can make as many or as few of these as you like and make it whatever length you want it to be. But isn't that neat? Now all we need is a clasp. Now you can go out and get a lobster clasp, but I like making my own. I like to continue the pattern and so that my clasp isn't a jarring difference from the rest of it. So I'm going to make clasps. Let's grab another 4-inch piece of wire and measure about an inch from the tip again. Let's go about an inch and an eighth from the tip. Yeah. Then I'm going to bend my wire in half, like so. I'm going to squeeze it as much as I can with my fingers because I want these two ends of wire side by side. When I can't do it more with my fingers, I will go to my pliers and finish it. You're going to have to be very patient as you don't want these wires to cross over. So just a nice slow squeeze. There we go. So, oh, swallow. Sorry. That was weird. Ooh, okay. So I've got my wires side by side, nice and flat. So I'm going to go down here to the bottom, give myself about half an inch, about a half an inch from this tip. Fold my wire up like so. Just like that. Then I'm going to come in with my pliers, hold on to both of the edges that are side by side. And I'm going to wrap this short stem around this short tail around the long stem. Now that's a very, very short tail. So I'm going to let my round nose pliers help me out here. Let's wrap that around until that's nicely closed up. And then I'm going to switch to my square pliers, just push that little tip down. Here we go. Yes. Now let's go ahead and introduce some beads. Let's get this nice and neat. Yes. Let's go ahead and introduce some beads. So I'm going to go, both of these ends are miraculously black bordering red. So I'm going to go red bordering black just to have a contrast. And you don't need this many beads. If you don't want this many, you can just put one bead on. I just like to make my clasps beaded. That's just me. So I'm going to make my loop side to side. Here are my two sides of my hook, which is what this is going to be. So I'm going to bend that to the side and grab my round nose pliers. Just going to go about a third of the way down my pliers. I want my pliers to rest against my bead when I make my loop. Rest it against the bead and then pull it away just a tiny fraction, maybe a 16th of an inch, no more than that. Bring that tail over the top of my pliers and down the side until it's running parallel with my beads. Then I'm going to hold on to the beads, open my pliers out without shifting that wire, and reposition them, clamp back down, and then bring that tail the rest of the way under between my pliers and my beads. Now I have a nice little loop. Yay! So let's go ahead and wrap that loop. Wrap that tail between the loop and the beads. And I only need a couple of wraps there. Cut off the excess. And push down that little tip. A little bit more. If you can get it under those wires, that's even better. Nice. And it's somehow ended up and down instead of side to side, which is the way I want it. So I'm going to hold on to my little hook and I'm going to turn this until my loop is flat. So this is flat and that's flat, and that's the way I want it. Yes. So now let's make, almost finished. So now let's make my hook. So what I want to do is bend back my wire right here just above my coil here. I don't want to bend it down here at the beads. I want it right above the coil. So I'm going to put my finger there. You can use your pliers, but you want to make sure that it doesn't bend up here. I want it to go right here, put a little bend in, just like that. Then I'm going to go to the tip with your round or your square pliers, either one, and I'm going to bend it also in the same direction. So now I have this. Then I'm going to grab my pliers. I'm going to slide my wire down to the back of my pliers, almost to the hilt. So I'm about 3/4 of the way down. Then I'm going to start bending my wire around. Just kind of fold it down and then bring my tip and the back together. Just squeeze them together like so. And there's my hook. Isn't that lovely? Lay that down so I can see it straight. Yes. Nice. And let's attach. Now, either one of these will have, these loops that we make are big enough to attach your loop. This one or this one. Any of your loops will attach to it. So you can attach it any place you want. Grab a jump ring, slide it on my link, slide it in the loop of my clasp, close it up, make sure the tips are together, and that my loop is completely closed. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a wearable chain. Is, isn't that neat? I love it. You can wear something like this with anything. If you're in it's the season of giving gifts, what better gift than to give somebody a completely um, um, reimagined chain of your own imagination. You can use any of these links or all of these links or create some links of your own to make a chain that's a one of a kind. You can make one for everybody you know, and they can all be different. Use a different color bead, use a different shape on your links. Beautiful. You can add something to it. You can dangle a um, pendant from it if you want to, or you can leave it just like this, and it's going to be gorgeous. So let's see what it looks like. Okay, there it is. And once again, it matches what I'm wearing. What are the odds? So isn't that beautiful? I love this. I hope that you'll do this. I hope that you'll make one for yourself because I love when you show me your own take on something that we've done. So please, 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 please make at least one of these. I can almost guarantee you that people are gonna love it if you decide to give this as a gift. I know I'm going to love wearing mine. See, a beautiful match. I love, 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 love it. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that you'll do something like this, and I hope that you'll get in touch with me and let me know what you did and show me what you did. You can send me pictures and comments to my Gmail, which is jewelrygen20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20@gmail.com. You can also leave pictures and comments at the DeKalb County Library Facebook page, which is facebook.com/DeKalb Library. That's DeKalb You can leave comments on the DeKalb County Library YouTube page, which is youtube.com/DeKalb County Public Library. DeKalbCountyPublic And I always spell that out because you have to use the entire moniker for the YouTube page. Otherwise, you'll get an Illinois library. That's not us. So please enjoy this. Please, please, please let me know what you think. I'm finished. My clock's saying you're talking too much. Okay, please let me know what you think one way or the other. If things worked out for you, if you didn't understand something, if I know the quality is not the best. I don't have professional equipment or even close to. So let me know one way or the other what your critiques are, because I really would like to hear them. Those of you who get kids, I keep looking because my neighbor keeps going back and forth in front of my window. Those of you who get kids will get enough to make a good, depending on how you make your loops, you should be able to get a good 18 to 20 inch necklace out of this. So you'll get your beads, you'll get your jump rings, you'll get your wire. That's all you need. And I can't wait to see what you do with it. So until next time, have a great week. Have a wonderful weekend. And I'll see you later. Bye bye.